Yes, Hickok 45, your internet shooting companion, is here in Middle Tennessee, the home. Jeff Quinn, Jack Daniels, who else? Johnny Cash lived here a long time. Buford Pusser, Dolly Parton. We could go on forever. Alvin York, and just never end. Right, be here all day. So we're glad you're here, and I'm going to take a shot with my, what is it? K98, right? German Mauser. Let's shoot something. Let's blow something up here. Just to kick, let's blow something else up just to kick things off. Wow. Big bullet does the job. Let's see if it'll hit the gong. Man, we heard it, didn't we? Got a couple left, and I'll just leave the action open. Yes, that is my, I guess, yeah, it is my favorite Mauser. I just have a couple now. I traded one to John, the Russian Capture, and this is a nice all-matching one, and BYF, whatever. And then I have the G98, the Gullibility 98 as well, and that's it. Just a couple of nice ones. This one's nicer than the G98. It's well, no, it's not more valuable, I guess. I don't know. They're hard to come by, the G98s, and I really like it. But I'm good on Mausers. Can you believe that? That's like me saying I've got a couple of Glocks. I'm good on Glock. Got a couple of Colt single action. I'm good. Don't need any more. Yeah. It's just with some guns, you want a nice sample maybe, or a sample period, and to shoot it. You've always been interested in it. 8mm, you know, like Kar98, whatever, and you got one, and yeah, it's good. You're not going to become a collector of them, and you know, have 18 different ones. Some people do, but then other firearms, you sort of collect, I guess, whether you meant to or not, right? We kind of slip into a collection of certain things. Maybe we didn't mean to. Maybe it's not firearms for you. They are kind of pricey. If you're young, you maybe had time to, have 57 firearms. So, maybe it's something else that you collect, not quite as pricey. And you didn't mean to collect that either, but you just, over a period of a couple, 3 years, you ended up with a lot of Barbie dolls, or whatever it might be, right? So I know 22 Plinkster has a pretty nice collection of Barbie dolls and that kind of thing. But, I wasn't supposed to say that, was okay. I was just kidding. He really doesn't. Okay. So I'm glad you're here, and we're still in the throes of a barren-looking winter woods. Winter woods. It's really not winter. Spring now, officially. Again, it could snow tomorrow, but it is not likely to. Never know. And it takes a while for the trees to get the message that it is almost April. It just takes them a little time to figure it out. Actually, it's a part of nature, right? They've got to wake up from the winter and start pulling up the sap from the ground, or the moisture, and it's all part of nature. The timing is programmed in, and it just happens when it happens. Some trees get their leaves, they bud out earlier. The softer woods, here I go, giving you all botany lessons. I got to start invoicing you folks for all this information. But the softer trees, I've noticed, like a poplar, especially, will bud sooner and get its leaves a little sooner than some of the hardwood trees, like the oaks and the hickories. And then there's a variation. To continue your education, there's a variation among the different types of hickory trees. I've observed, 3 or 4 different hickories, and oaks, of course, or more, on our place. You can tell the bark, the leaves, just a little bit different, but they're all hickories or they're all oaks. And some of them will keep their leaves a lot longer, almost all the way through the winter, even though they're brown. And then some lose them earlier, and it's just interesting to observe nature, particularly in one place. Many of us like to go to the park and camping, and maybe you may be more of an outdoors person than I am. You may spend months on the Appalachian Trail or something, hiking in the mountains, you know, every year. Well, if you do that, you probably observe the same thing. But I have always been, you know, an outdoors person to some extent. And but since I've moved here and live here for, you know, over 35 years, on one place, same trees, except for the new ones, I've just been able to, even as dumb as I am, year after year after year after year, you begin to realize and notice things that a pattern, you know, various trees do this and, you know, kind of thing, and how fast trees grow or how slowly they grow. You notice that. You can go walk through the woods for 3 weeks and then somewhere else in the woods for 3 weeks and somewhere else. You can be in the woods a lot, right? But you don't necessarily see that same tree and watch it grow and notice its progress over time. Well, this that's a poplar tree. I don't know how you're right in the middle of the range. It's right there to the, as you all look at it, it's kind of between those two plates, and it's the first big one right here on the range, this range, to the left of the propane tank. Okay. And to the right of this yellow 2-liter, you know, it's the only one there, the big one, the closest to us. Like that sucker, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. I remember it started sprouting up here because I kind of mowed this little piece here and I was going to use this for a trail. And then I think I had a target on it, or it got shot off or broken off of a tractor. I don't know. And I thought that was the end of it. It was maybe that big around. And then a piece of it sort of continued to grow, and I just left it, of course, and it grew, and then there it is. It's a big old tree, probably 150 feet tall or something like that. And of course the one over there on the hill, the first big one on the hill over there, okay, that's a poplar as well. It's right on the range, you know. It's, for you all, it's kind of hiding that left red plate a little bit, okay. That's what I'm talking about, that big one over there. Yeah, the only big one, you know, the biggest one you see that's amongst the targets is just a little bit this side of the targets on that hill over there. That one, as we did a video where I pointed that out or two, I think, but that's a poplar, and it's big. I can't reach around that thing. And one day it was 89 probably, because I just had gotten my own tractor, 88, I guess, 88 or 89. And I was bush hogging through there, mowing the grass, because all that you see over there was just, and right here was just grass. There were no trees. And I saw a poplar starting to shoot up. And I've always liked poplar trees. And it was, you know, it was just a little sprig. And I said, I'll just mow around it this time. And then I watched it, got pretty, you know, a little size to it that summer. And so I just intentionally protected it. And there it is now, huge tree. So it is interesting to observe the progress of nature, right? I'm just in my Henry David Thoreau mode today, sorry. Except Henry David Thoreau did not take a K98 to Walden Pond with him. Emerson would not allow it, I believe. Or any bowling pins. Let's hit the coffin if I can. Hit him hard. Hey, please pardon the interruption. How's this? An idiot interrupting an idiot. Yeah, a first, maybe, in the world of video. Anyway, I got to rambling a little too much, I think, kind of talking about recent events and things, so I started deleting a bunch of that. I wanted to insert something, hopefully that's a little more concise. Probably not. Probably an equal amount of rambling. But anyway, at least I stopped and tried to think about it a little bit. So anyway, I just wanted to enjoy this beautiful rifle, right? K98. But it is so sad when people are assaulted, attacked, raped, killed, whatever happens to, you know, innocent people minding their own business. Happens every day, of course. You know, the news media could probably pick out, well, any given day, I don't know what the number would be, at least 10, you know, probably 30 or 40 or 100, I don't know, but at least 10 people if every morning you got up and there was a very extensive narrative on Mary Jo Smith in Peoria, Illinois, minding her own business, coming home from work, and had her car stolen. She was kidnapped and killed, raped, whatever, you know, and then went into her family and her grieving mother and her brother and all the people that knew her and she worked with, and you know, we'd just be terribly upset, you know, about that event, right? And how many events like that happen every day, and we just don't, you know, they're stabbed, they're shot with a handgun, they're just choked to death, beat to death. After all, more people are killed with fists than feet. I mean, you've heard that stat, you know, every year, than with rifles, you know, of any kind, much less an AR-15 or an AK-47. I don't know what that number would be, 150, 20, I don't know, but it's more dramatic, isn't it, more sounding, and the event, of course, when a group of people are just killed for no reason, you know, as well, and that's extremely dramatic. It's all focused. It's focused for the media. It's focused for all of us, right? Not to diminish that. It's a horrible event. Oh man, people just going about their day doing what we all do, right? Yeah, I go to the post office every day and around whatever else I'm doing, your grocery, and you know, last thing you expect. And of course, many of us are semi-prepared for events like that. We may go down as well, but we feel like we have a fighting chance, perhaps. You know, many of us, right, watching this, but still, it's just so horrific. And you know, those people, their just lives ended. And we don't ever want to diminish that. Sometimes folks in the firearms community, Second Amendment supporters, which should be everybody in the country, start say on the planet, probably that too. If we're not careful, we jump to the firearms argument, you know, just like the other side starts dancing in the blood of victims to promote their narrative about gun control. And if we're not careful, we jump to that too, because we're just on the defensive, right, to protect the Constitution. But oh my gosh, we have to remind ourselves, everybody, and we all know that, whether we express it or not, we all feel it, I think, how just absolutely horrible it is. Many of you have lost people in your family. I certainly have. And there's just nothing that compares with that, right? It changes you forever in so many ways. And so I think we all can, you know, we empathize with the horror of that. And but we still have to maintain our common sense about things, or we just turn into a pile of mush. And organization, society goes away, and we end up in a dictatorship or something. Our founding fathers were not idiots. Founders, excuse me. Let's leave off the fathers. That's not correct, right? Politically correct. But the founders knew what they were doing. They were not idiots. They knew human nature and the nature of governments, right? And we all should know the nature of governments. Look through history. Every dictator is perfectly willing to make sure you don't have dangerous guns, right? If you're a citizen in that country or a subject, to make certain you don't have those dangerous firearms. You know, they can be very dangerous. You know, people get hurt with those. Yeah. So anyway, here I go rambling again. But it's just so sad that innocent people, you know, do die every day, whether it's in Chicago or Nashville, Tennessee, or Miami, Florida, wherever it is. And it's generally not with a rifle of any kind. That's actually pretty rare. Really rare, you know, when compared with all the other ways that people take people's lives, right? Beat them to death and stab them, and handguns and just everything, whatever somebody can use, you can't stop that, right? But anyway, just suffice it to say, bad things are going to happen. There's no utopia. And in trying to create one, we end up with a society we don't want to live in, right? And that's part of the problem, as I mentioned before. So many people think that utopia is an achievable goal. and it is not. You just have to pick your poison. Society is going to be messy one way or the other. It's just a matter of how you want it to be, messy or disorganized or imperfect. It's going to be very imperfect. So choose your imperfections, kind of what it comes down to. And I don't want that side of imperfection where I'm living in a dictatorship and I have absolutely no recourse with whatever tyrannical government might evolve, right? So anyway, so just let's suffice to say, young people especially, people maybe a little more naive, but mainly younger people that follow our channel and YouTube and everything in general, keep in mind things can happen that are very emotional and really, really pull on you. And keep in mind the statistics. Look up the FBI statistics, and you see, I think it was in 2018, I studied them a while back. I think it was 2018. It was like 297 people were killed with rifles. And that was like any kind, including something like this, a bolt action. And so of that, I don't know what the AR-15 what number would be, but probably not that big, So keep that in mind and be aware of all the other things going on. The things that the media focuses on are worthy of attention, of course, but on any given day, how many, as I mentioned, how many horrific incidents have occurred, and so sad situations where a perfectly innocent person lost his or her life or was horribly maimed, attacked, assaulted in so many ways that did absolutely nothing to deserve it, right? They're just not the focus of the camera. They're sporadically spread out around the country. We don't even know who they are necessarily, except the people in those towns. It's a piece on the news or something. So bad things are happening all the time, right? Not to diminish, when really bad things happen all at once, on occasion. So there are sick people in the world, and most of us ain't them, right? We just are supporters of the Constitution and the country, and we don't want things to get worse, right? And in some very serious ways, we lose the Bill of Rights. So that's what we're about, and just wanted to mention that. I would rather, I want to live in a country, there's going to be danger, right? But you talk about real danger, you live in a country where there's no Second Amendment, and look what can happen, okay? Study history a little bit. Are these things dangerous? Are firearms dangerous? You betcha. Is an AR-15 dangerous? You betcha. Is this dangerous? You betcha. Otherwise, there's no Second Amendment. There's no teeth in the Second Amendment if these things aren't dangerous. Duh. Talking about how, an AR-15, 15 rounds or 30 rounds, it's a danger. Well, yeah, sure is. So is this. So is a handgun. And, any firearm is potentially very, very dangerous, right? So our founders knew that. And whatever it was a flintlock or a cap lock or whatever the heck it was, or a knife or a cannon. So I'm much more interested in keeping the country free than trying desperately for something that cannot work. You can never remove all the danger. There's no way to do it. It would take a police state, an absolute police state, as I've said before. I mean a police state where we'd have to have 2 police for every 1 civilian. I guess police are civilians, but I mean, you'd have to take 2 cops to watch me. Or no, 3, 1 for every shift, right? 3 shifts in a day to make sure I don't do something dangerous. You want to live in a country like that? Not me. I'll take my chances. So anyway, here I am rambling again, but yeah, these things are dangerous. Just stay vigilant, and it's more important than ever to stay in touch with your representatives. And if you don't know who they are, find out. Simple. The internet is your friend, and write them, call them, log in your feelings on things. You're not likely to talk to them personally, but log in your vote, your opinion, okay? No matter where you live. no matter where you live, because the freedom haters, gun haters, they're doing it. They're doing it. So if you're just sitting on the couch watching your favorite sitcom, you could be losing your freedom as you do that. Okay. So anyway, I rambled again. I'm sorry, but I'm probably going to insert this in instead of the normal rambling, and so I'll let you get back to that Mauser action and the goofball that's kind of showing this gun to you and talking to you. Okay, so sorry for the weird little interruption, but I just kind of felt like it was necessary. When I typically don't delete things. I think one time I did edit out some rambling in one of the Sunday shoot-arounds, and this would just be the second time, and mainly because I wanted to try to say it better, and I probably did not. And there's no way you can say it and talk about these things that pleases the radical left, I'll call them, or the gun haters. There's no way. There's no way. They think we just we don't want to give up our hobby. We don't want to give up our toys. That's the kind of way they look at it, or it's at least their narrative. And well, that may be true too. We don't want to give up the things we enjoy in life, but most importantly, we don't want to give up freedom. And we understand the Second Amendment. We understand human nature and where things can lead. That's what gets me in the arguments you see in TV interviews and things. So many people, they have no regard for the Second Amendment. All they want to talk about is how dangerous certain guns are. Yeah, do you ever even think about the founders and the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and why that was included and what it's about? Do you ever even think about that? Instead of just reciting repeating these stupid lines about how you don't need an AR-15 to hunt or to target shoot, I'm not sure sometimes whether they're just being totally clueless or they know what they're saying. They know what they're ignoring, the real purpose of the Second Amendment. It has nothing to do with hunting or target shooting, and even to some extent self-defense individually. That was on their mind too. But it's the Second Amendment is to ensure that there's never a tyrannical government, that we always have the power, put it that way. The power is with the citizens, okay? And just having the firearms is hopefully enough, okay? But if we don't have them, something pretty effective, we don't need nuclear weapons, we don't need Apache helicopters, we just need something pretty effective we can hold in our hands. That's close to what the military's running around with, right? So anyway, don't get into all that down another rabbit hole. So I probably rambled an equal amount, but maybe I said a little better. I don't know. So I'm gonna let you get back to this big, dumb, ugly dude shooting this gun and rambling about other things now. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed this little break in the action. All right. Even though it took place, later in the day, or 3 months later, or some other time in the time warp. So back to Hickok 45 as he blabs on and takes a couple of shots. And what was I gonna? I was going to mention the music as I started out with someone, gave me a hard time about having the music played too low. They wanted to hear it. They like to hear the music. They know it's a Sunday shoot around. Others would disagree. Some would disagree. Some would not. But that's life, isn't it? That's the way it is. It's why you have to, as I constantly admonish you all, you young people especially, and everybody, think before you act. Put some thought into what you do. Not saying just do whatever you want to do, but after you've thought about it a little bit, you have to do, what makes sense to you, don't you? You got to do what makes sense to you, and because guess what? Some people are not going to like it, and guess what else? Some people are going to like it. Okay, whatever it is, and very difficult on social media to know how many are in each group. that's the challenge you have if you're doing something for the public, or I don't know, you're presenting something, whether you're playing music, whatever it is. I mean, time will tell you. If everybody tunes you out, that'll tell you something, right? But it is difficult to tell because I guess most people, when they observe something, like even on the internet, which is a new thing, being able to comment, right? And like and vote up and down or all that kind of thing. This is a new thing under the sun, really. You know, someone made a movie back in 1980 or 1940 or whatever. Oh, they get ratings eventually and can figure out if people like it, but you know, there's no one typing comments as they watch Gone with the Wind, you know, when it came out, or anything, or it's a movie theater, or even when it's replayed on TV, you know, so much, you know. There's a lot of information and input out there in the internet, and magazine articles written about it and all that sort of thing, reviews, you know, all through the years, but a lot of people never see that unless you pick up a tabloid or something. But now, you know, you get a lot of feedback immediately and constantly. And so one of the things I was going to say is, I think, maybe wrong, but I think most people, now whatever most means, whether it's 51%, is that most? Kentucky math. Or it's 90%, I don't know. But I think most people will like watch a video and they don't comment. Actually, I don't have to guess on that, right? If a video has, of anything, whatever it is, whatever kind of video, if it has 100,000 views and it has 1,000 comments, guess what? My Kentucky math tells me, my Kentucky brain tells me that most people did not comment. Yeah, there you go. It just came to me. It's not a wild guess. But yeah, really, I mean, most people will watch something, because I'm that way, most of you are that, there I go. I think I'm proper in using the word most, or I'm accurate. Most people watch things and they may really like it, and you know, just don't leave a comment or whatever. And you know, it's not like they're slighting you for not leaving a comment. Oh my God, somebody didn't they approved of what I did and they didn't tell me, and I mean, it's not like that. You know. I'm that way. I rarely leave a comment on videos, as I've talked about that before, partly because of a lot of people would recognize me if I'm commenting on gun videos, and I do it sometimes, but I want to be, I don't have to be, but I want to be really, really careful when I do that, because it's, you know, I'm afraid I'll come off as snarky, or I'll say something, you know, or just, because you know me, with my sense of humor, so I can't really say what I might be thinking. There have been several times I've come close to commenting on somebody's video, and I kind of know the person, or maybe I don't. And I think it's something to say or funny about something they're doing. But yeah, sure as the world, somebody would think I'm being critical or misread it, or especially if they don't know me, you know, my sense of humor. So, but anyway, most people don't comment. All right, bottom line. And so it is hard to know. And then there's a real small percentage of people who, so let's say in the negative category, that go about their life looking for the negative and looking for drama. There's a small slice of people, the percentage, whatever it is, 1 or 2%, I don't know, it's probably 0.5% or 0.1%, I don't know. And they are likely to be very active commenting on something you're doing. And you can very easily, the point of my whole diatribe here, is you can really be misled. You can really be misled. You do something and it will appear possibly that, oh my God, nobody likes it, you know, and you know, somebody said this and that and all that kind of stuff. When really, if somehow magically you could take a survey of everybody who watched your video, let's say it's 100,000 views, whether it's over 5 months or 5 years or 1 day, whatever it is, if you could somehow meet each one of those individuals and say, well, how'd you like the video? Was it stupid? And you know, almost all of them would probably say, yeah, it was pretty good, you know, or yeah, I enjoyed it, you know. And then you'd have a hard time probably finding that person that created the drama, you know, about whatever you did, or the hate, or that. I really think that's true, is what I'm saying, okay? And the point is, so it does make it difficult to know, because a really, really small group of people can appear to be a larger group. In fact, they do appear to be a larger group. It's not they can, they just sort of do, because most people don't comment, you know, and then a group of people that do comment are somewhere in the middle, you know. So anyway, the thing you notice the most, or are likely to notice the most, are a couple of haters, or 5 or 6 or 10. And then you just have to realize that's out of 100,000 people, that's all the video or whatever. And keep that in mind, okay? Because my basic point there was, you just have to do what you think is right and it's okay to do, and do it. Be smart, you gotta think. You can't just do anything, okay? All right, so that's also some good advice for young people, right? If I don't have any more young people advice. Some more good advice for young people is to shoot more, right? If you can. Should I load with a clip? Let's do it. Again, this is my BYF K98. It's all matching. You've seen it. Maybe I'll link to a video just in case some of you haven't. I mean, it's not a gun that when you see it, you think, oh my God, what a beautiful firearm that is, necessarily. Unless you really are into Mausers and you know Mausers, it might strike you that way. It kind of strikes me that way. I really like it. I wanted one really pretty nice Mauser, German made, and all matching. And it is, it's all matching. You know, they were real sticklers for, you know, putting serial numbers on everything, every part, you know. And so it is all matching, so it's pretty cool. Had it looked at by an expert before I even bought it, a real expert, and who's written books on it, who has actually looked at this rifle. And because I tell you, it's a real jungle out there with Mausers. Whoa boy, there's so much money to be made. Any product, any endeavor, collectible, whatever, as you know, coins, it doesn't matter what it is. If they're of a certain value, there's a level of money that could be made by counterfeiting or imprinting some fake markings or whatever, and fooling somebody. If you could just pick up a couple thousand or $1,000, yeah, and by roll marking something or refinishing it, you know, there's people, do I have to tell you, that would do that, right? So I'll take some more shots with it. It's a nice rifle, and I want to thank our running Talon gun grips and Ballistol. You know, we're very lucky, and you all know it. And by the way, I get a question every now and then, and I'll get something sent to me. Yeah, just a couple days ago, there's some kind of ad running, or someone's got an ad running with a magazine loader or something, and they got a clip of me into that thing or something. I'm not sure who does it or who it is. I've gotten 2 or 3 messages about that. I want to know if they're a sponsor or we work with them or something. No, we work with nobody that you don't know about. The 6 entities I just mentioned, that's all we work with, okay? That's all, okay? Nobody else helps us unless it's an occasional, like a one-off, like limited, Simpson Limited or something like that, and you know it, right? We always let you know. We're very transparent. You might not like what we do. You might not like me. You know, whatever. But he probably wouldn't be here watching unless it's trying to figure out a way to hate. But yeah, that's it. Just to be clear on that, if you ever see, now I'm talking about that, if you ever see my ugly face on somebody's website who doesn't help us or whatever, they don't have that with my permission. They don't have my permission. They don't have our permission for that. They really shouldn't be there. We're more generous with, of course, the people that help us, the 6 people I mentioned, the 6 people on the target, right? You might see something even at their website or whatever, because they help us out, you know, they're a supporter. But nobody else. I mean, we don't try to keep people from linking to our videos. You know, I get a lot of people who want to actually have a video, one of our videos or a piece of it, to do something, to maybe promote something we had in a video. We don't really do that. I would say no to that. But actually, you can link to a video if you want to, you know, link to YouTube on whatever it is, you know, but we're not, involved in your product, really. It's just, we review so many different things. There's different guns from so many different companies, and we have no relationships or connections with any of those gun companies, period. And so, never have. And so, it's the way it is. So, well, I'll point that out. Yeah, it reminds me that some drama going on YouTube. Well, as if that's the news, right? Drama. And, on the gun channels, it seems like there's always some kind of drama going on. And I don't really follow it, but something popped up, on that. So just, I don't know why I didn't mention that, because it's all, well, the thing is, even gun people, they're just like everybody else. We're all pathetic humans, aren't we? And we get into drama of various kinds, and just like the media of any kind, we're always ready. Somebody's always ready to get clicks by jumping into the fray. And oh man, there's some content, there's a video, I'll get attention with this or whatever. And everybody's not doing it just for that reason, but probably a lot of people do. And so what can happen is something can escalate, and again, something can seem bigger than it is, whatever it is, it really can. And I don't even get into that stuff to even really develop an opinion on, who's the bad guy in this drama, because for one thing, there's no way to know hardly. And then also, I know how people are. I was just talking about, whatever's going on and whatever the deal is, there's going to be some haters, those bottom dwellers, that are just waiting to pounce on anybody. It's happened to us, it's going to happen to anybody, and so they're just waiting. They're desperately circling under the surface, looking for content, looking for some kind of drama, to get into. So you've always got them, and then. So you don't know, what's real and what's not. Could be something that's real. As I have said about the media, I made the point over the last 10 years, 20, some politicians are constantly harassed by the media to the point where there are certain politicians who could literally murder somebody on the front lawn of their home or the White House or the Capitol building. And I wouldn't know whether to believe it or not. Even if they did it, even if there was film of it, I'm not sure I'd believe, So, it's hard to believe anything anymore. And so it's, I'm not going to take a side unless it's something I'm really involved in personally. I don't know. So anyway, I'm talking too much, getting off on all kinds of stupid stuff, huh? Can I shoot this thing again? Let me put some bullets in it. I'm going to load through the clip, and like I'm in battle. Oh, look at that. Those 5 slip right in there, don't they? I left my pad at home, my extender pad. The recoil's not bad on these, I don't think, but I really do miss my pad. Y'all can't imagine how much, just that much makes if long guns are too short for you. And that doesn't really apply to many of you, I realize, but maybe some of you, most long guns are too long for you. So it's the same thing. If you could just saw off that much, it just makes a world of difference. Or if you can add that much, in my case, right? Good old 8mm, the preferred round for bowling. There's one down there pretty far. Let's see if we can pop him. All right. I'm going to put another one on Mr. Gong, if that's okay. Boy. And how about the coffin, kid? Shot right over it. Terrible let off. And I knew it when I did it, You all who shoot much, you know what I mean. When you pull the trigger, sometimes you just, I knew that was bad. If I'd have hit it, it would have been an accident, although we don't usually confess to that. Sometimes I do. Oh, this reminds, I brought a picture out here. You know me, Mr. Stuck on myself and pictures of myself. Someone asked or said a comment, for last week with my Model 29. I showed that little picture of it from 1974. December '74, that I'd been cool to see, have a picture of you shooting it. And I saw that comment. I thought, yeah, well, I probably got one somewhere. Oh yeah, of course I do. There's one that is enlarged. It's been hanging in a barn for forever. But anyway, just to show you what a thin guy I was. I don't know if you can see that, how well you can see it. But that's at a match. A friend of mine took that. It was one of the silhouette matches I was talking about last week with this gun, or with the 29-2 that I had out that I bought in '74. And that would have been like '76 probably. And that's when I had that shirt for a long time. I think I finally threw it away, but I wore that thing so much. But yeah, that was me lining up. That was actually during the competition, you know, taking shots at the silhouettes. Did I have ears in? Yeah, I got plugs in. So anyway, that's yours truly, if you can see that. Yeah, see, okay, all right, so a handsome dude. So it's neat. I don't have a lot of pictures of myself from back in those days, really. So it's kind of neat to have one. And that holster I had on my belt, that's the same holster I've used, that Bianchi holster, snap holster, and the gun, that, you know, they stay together kind of, and I don't keep it in it because you can get some rust, you know, but I still have that holster. I also have one for a 6.5 inch that I bought a little bit later, and kept it, although I went through periods of time where I didn't have a 6-inch 29. I think I even had a stainless one at one point for a little bit. Didn't have a nickel one. I had a 6-inch and I had a 6.5 inch. So I traded off. What a dummy I was. And then of course you all know I got another 6.5 inch a few years ago up in Columbus, Ohio. And so anyway, gosh, so young and dumb back then. Now I'm old and dumb, right? At least I'm consistent, you know. Some people get smarter as they get older. Some people get dumber as they get older. I just stay the same. I forgot what it was. Just the other day, I was doing something. I kind of forgot. You know, you go into a room, forget, what I come in here for? I do it back and forth to the shed, you know, going back to get something and going to shoot or whatever, a target, and go back and get my ear muffs, or go back and clean a gun, bring it back, go get a cleaning patch, you know, just always back and forth. And you know, going to occasionally, oh man, what did I come in here for? Because I had about 18 things on my mind. You know, maybe we're getting ready to do a video or something. And I was telling John, oh man, what did I come in here for? And I said, you know, the thing is, it's not that I'm getting old and I have dementia or anything. It's like some presidents we might know about who were through history, right? I thought I've always been this way. I mean, you know, I really have. I mean, I don't notice any difference in that, you know, or forgetting something. I haven't really changed. So if I seem really dumb and really forgetful in my old age, it's really not legitimate for me to blame it on old age. You know, I've kind of always been the same, best I remember. But maybe I don't remember correctly. So maybe, yeah, it is old. What was I going to talk about before I load up again? Anything important? Seemed like there was something that I wanted to mention early on, and I don't know what it is. Well, yeah, I was going to, about this particular gun, since it is a German Mauser, and it was made in '43, guess where it might have been used? Guess when it might have been used? Yeah, 43, 44, 45. Guess what was going on during those years? Some serious unpleasantries. And some people are really turned off by a firearm like this for that reason. Yeah, is that legitimate? No. Well, yeah. I mean, if it's legitimate for you, yeah, okay. It doesn't bother me, and I'm a very sensitive soul. I mean, I even cry if I see a cute little kitten. But for some reason, it doesn't bother me. No, it's not because I like to think about people dying or anything like that. I'm a little squeamish, actually. But I don't know. As I've said before, it's a piece of steel and wood. No polymer on this one. So it has no personality. This gun has never assaulted anybody. No gun has ever assaulted anybody. People might assault others. People shoot people, stab people, beat people to death. You know, that happens, right? But I know it just doesn't, so that doesn't get to me. And I would encourage you, and I don't want to shame you for your feelings, your sincere feelings or anything on, regarding that, but just try to think about it. It's just an inanimate object. And especially if you're a gun person, you're a shooter, and you really want to support the Second Amendment, because, the anti-gunners come at it from that angle to a large extent, that emotional position. That's where they come from lots of times. They just, see a gun, and they see blood, It's a weapon to them, for killing, and, they don't, that's all they see, So that emotional attachment, connection can work to our detriment, if we're not careful. So you want to be careful about that, kind of thinking. I mean, for one thing, you might have an old shotgun, that you bought, kind of an antiquer or just an older shotgun. It could have been a Remington 870 or something, made in the 50s or whatever. You got a couple old shotguns you just really like, bought them both used, at a gun show or something. For all you know, one of those was used to murder 2 people, blow their heads off. For all you know, I mean, you just don't know. A knife, you may have picked up some knives at an antique shop or something. Maybe some fine silver ware, some steak knives, silver steak knives or something. You don't know. They were at a flea market or an antique shop. Somebody might have gotten stabbed right through the heart or the head with one of those. They cleaned it off and put it back in the drawer. You just don't know. I mean, it's an inanimate object. Let's get mad at the shooter. In this case, even the shooters, it's hard to get mad at. They're just following the orders of the military. So, again, that's another story. But war is war. And so there's a way. So when I see this, other than the side it was used on, everything, being an American, maybe a Garand, M1 Garand or M1 carbine, if I did have those feelings, it would not be as strong if I see an M1 Garand and hold an M1 Garand. But when I hold this, think of Americans being shot with it or something, So, I mean, that's understandable. But they're both just inanimate objects, okay? Wood and steel. I would advise you to try to get over that if you can. Kind of think through that a little bit. Not that I'm smarter than you, but it's just that I'm smarter than you. How's that for a bizarre statement? Now you know better than that. But anyway, just wanted to mention that because you don't know where any gun's been or a baseball bat or what's been done to it. And again, this is kind of an example. Like I say, it's all matching. It's it's not a cheap gun and everything. What a lot of us shooters do over the years, if you're young, you'll kind of probably move through that evolution of gun collecting or the hobby. Is like I've had a couple of these various kinds over the many years, and now, like I said, I have this and I have a G98, and I'm not interested in getting more of them. We tend to focus a little bit more with our collection or a hobby or our interest, better than anything, whatever you might collect or be interested in, I guess. And you start out with things, whatever you can afford, or just happens to find it and get a good price on it at the time. You always wanted a 357 Magnum of some kind. You just always wanted one, and someone has a Taurus or a Rossi and a buddy of yours, and he's trying to sell it, and you end up with that, and you're going to shoot and whatever. And as you experience guns more, you learn more about them, and you think, yeah, this is cool. I wouldn't mind having, a Smith & Wesson, a classic Model 60 or a Model 27, the first 357 Magnum or something, or you shot a buddy's a gun, a 357 that just felt better to you and more expensive, but you say, hey, I want one of those. Maybe a Python even, yeah, one day I want one of those. And then maybe one day you do, 10 years later or whatever, you sell some of the guns you have and you get a Python, and that's kind of the epitome for you of a 357 Magnum. And so anyway, through the years, I think a lot of us do, and I have, I tend to focus more on maybe quality over quantity. Those motorcycles are running away. But, and then there's some of us are guilty of both of those, quality and quantity. But that's kind of the way I think we do it. So it's kind of neat to have this nice example of a German Mauser, yeah. So or made in Oberndorf, right? Am I remembering correctly? Yeah, I think so. So pretty cool, and I like the cartridge. It's a fun one to shoot. I think it is a lot of fun. So what else did you want to hear me blab on anything this week? Well, I don't know. I got to be careful. I've enjoyed the last 7 or 8 days of some of the arguments, whether it's in the Senate hearings or whatever's going on. Again, you may not agree with me. I know some people do. FedEx person don't like, for example, Tucker Carlson, who was welcome to come, film their thing here. I think he does a great job of exposing the hypocrisy and the idiocy of some politicians and just anybody. It's I think he does a great job on that. And Rand Paul is another of my heroes. Greg Gutfeld is another of my heroes. Okay, so you may hate those people, and I know some of you do, because I see comments, but most of you don't. Everybody, of course, is welcome. I try not to judge people by who they like or their political parties. You know where I stand. I lean pretty much a libertarian, okay, for freedom. So the people that I like tend to lean the same way for freedom, okay, and for freedom. And anyway, I just really enjoyed Rand Paul, and in fact, he is a doctor, he is a physician. I know he's an ophthalmologist, but he is a physician, and he has done the research, and he knows what he's saying. Oh, I hope my FedEx person doesn't need a signature. Yeah, they'll come back. So if they do, I have nothing coming that needs a signature, so I don't. There he goes. Good. Driving away. But so anyway, I found it interesting. I've been having a little discussion with like markets and things I've gone into in the last a few days. I just in a very nice way, mentioning that the sign you have on the door about face diapers is it's becoming a little obsolete. I said, or you think that corporate offices are going to be updating that or looking at that? I said, you realize that we all realize 50%, at least where I live, 50% of the people that come through the door are immune for some reason, right? They've either had it or they've gotten shots, and so they're no risk to anybody, and nobody's any risk to them. And you want them to wear a face diaper? I'm about done with that, and so I think it's incumbent upon all of us to make sure that the controllers of this world do not continue unreasonable control. Put it that way, unreasonable, whatever you think is unreasonable. Now, some people don't think it's unreasonable, but anyway, I would advise folks to be sure we're not continuing to be sheep, okay? Unless it's necessary. Well, it's never necessary to be a sheep, but unless it's necessary in all of our best interest, serious interest, to comply with something, right? There's always risk. There's always risk when you leave the house. You leave the house. Because, as I said last week, there are people, like in the medical community and others, who would then kind of get their foot in the door. They would be just fine if people were required to wear face diapers in public for maybe 10 years. Now, after all, just think of the fewer colds, fewer cases of the flu, just cleaner, and yeah. They really would. They really would. So I won't elaborate on that anymore because that's just anyway. I don't want to make the tech giants get upset with me. Can I shoot again? Okay, let's do that. Man, this is great. This is a great gun. And again, remember the cigar holder. That was one of the real innovations the Germans came up with that I really appreciated, because often I have a cigar when I am shooting this thing. Now, if you've seen the video, you've already seen me use that joke. I think we actually had a cigar we stuck in it, didn't we? Maybe it was in the first video. A cigarette or cigar. That's for putting the bolt in, is to take the bolt apart. All right, that's, you know, got to be careful what jokes I use on some of you. There are varying levels of gullibility out there, right? There really are. We all know that too. Many of you see that as you prowl around the internet. It's pretty obvious that some people have grown up around folks that are just a little too serious and never make jokes. And so when they encounter somebody who messes with them a little bit, you know, funning with them, making a joke or testing gullibility, they fail the test big time. They really fail the test. One of my favorites still is in that video on the High Point, the first one we did, the C9, I guess. I borrowed one from a fellow at Clarksville, owns a gun shop, and he's a vet. And I made the comment that when he went to Iraq, he asked for special permission to carry this High Point instead of the M9, you know, Beretta. And so he carried it all through Iraq, just making, I thought, who would believe that, you know? And it would be the absurdity of that, wanting to carry a High Point, you know, in military. And a lot of people fell for that, okay? And I thought that was pretty funny, but anyway, you never know. I'm so bad. I'm going to shoot the paper. What do we have left here? I haven't hit a steel plate yet. See if I can. All right, about that ring. Let's try a bowling pin down there. Having a little trouble seeing the sight. Let's try this pretty yeller 2-liter. Now one more. Let's just send him out to the gong. All right, almost shot too low, I think. Yeah, last week shooting my model 29, it was pathetic. That sight was raised. It was raised, and I was shooting high. Oh man, of all the firearms for me to struggle a little bit with, that was what I should never ever struggle with. And I thought about it some more. And I did. I hadn't fired that in a long time. That's part of the issue. There you go again. I was on camera. I think I was trying to think about, did I move that sight or not? And some of you might be thinking, when I do that sort of thing, well, golly, Hickok is senile. You don't even remember if you moved that sight? Well, you got to remember, I have a lot of guns. I shoot a lot of different guns, and I might not shoot that 29 really for 6 months these days. And I might have had it out back, I don't know, last summer or in the fall, or who knows when, or I don't know. And I did, I think I was trying to pop the 230-yard gong with it and messing with that. And I just cranked it up, and then it was kind of an afterthought, and just never did put it back down. So, but anyway, I messed with so many firearms and forget, you know, when I really couldn't tell you when that was, but I almost know that's what I did. It was the only reason I would have raised the rear sight, because I'm not going to mess with the sight unless I have to. I don't even like to do that. I think we were planning to maybe do a video, 230 yards again, like a chapter 2, because we did one of those with it back in, it's been at least 10, 12 years ago. Thought it might be fun to do that again, I think, and we just never did do it. So we need to get on that. So I'll raise the sight again, okay? But yeah, that was really bizarre. If I miss with that firearm, it's really it's because I'm just having a bad day, flinching or something, not steady or whatever. Usually I don't know that I can remember when I wasn't steady. I don't have unsteady days really, but I may go through a streak of, I don't know, just, yeah, you are. We all do that. Come out and maybe you're flinching a little more than normal, or you're flinching a little bit. You're jerking just a little bit, pulling left or hair or whatever. And so that's about the only time I miss. I can never blame it on the gun. But other than last Sunday, it sort of was the gun, but it was really me forgetting that I'd raised the sight. And it was bizarre because sometimes you don't hear it hit the gong, but with a handgun, you should really hear it with almost any handgun. And then again, I do have with my ears in. Sometimes I might not hear it too clearly. I've got those ears in tight, but usually you can hear that with a handgun of any kind. Okay, I should let you go. What else is going on? Anything? I don't know. I don't know anything about John. If he has a date coming up, a comedy date, I know he's working hard at that. Mostly like open mics and things right now. And I think all of that is starting to open back up, and the world is opening back up. I think it's going to be a snowball steamroller effect that is going to be impossible to stop or slow down, and which is good, really. And it's nice. I'm thinking most things this spring, it looks like they're taking place. Like last year, I guess both of the Knob Creek machine gun shoots, I guess, were canceled. The Friendship, Indiana muzzle loading thing, the NRA meeting, it is all of this SHOT Show, all this stuff, hopefully from this point forward, all of that is taking place. The only things that may be a little iffy are the things coming up like really soon. I'll have to double check the calendar. I think Knob Creek, machine gun shoot up around Louisville, Kentucky is, what's that, middle of April or whenever it is? I haven't checked their website for a while. That might be, unless Kentucky is still slow to open up or something, unless they have some special restrictions on that. That's probably going to happen. Hope Friendship is still going to happen. I think the Tulsa Gun Show is going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to go to it. That's just like about 3 weeks off, I think. I don't know if it's just kind of soon, I'm afraid. I am definitely not going to walk through there for 10 hours. It's a 10-hour drive, and I'm not going to walk through that place all day long, 9 or 10 hours, wearing a mask. So I'll probably wait till the fall on that, I guess. But try when the world really is back, hopefully, to normal. And but I think most things are going to happen. I'm assuming the NRA meeting will take place in Houston, if the NRA still exists, in the fall. That's scheduled for September, I think, in Houston. They moved it. I got to get reservations. Man, it's like a nightmare trying to make reservations for that if you're trying to stay close to it. I just ready to give up on that. But so surely that will happen. That's several months out there, and shouldn't be a problem. Again, as long as the NRA is solvent, I guess, or they can have the thing. It really, whatever happens with the NRA, that event needs to happen. Somebody needs to take it over if necessary, whatever it would be, because I think the biggest attraction to people, of course, is the gigantic gun show. That it is, the NRA annual meeting, the exhibits. I mean, most people go for the exhibits. And so, it wouldn't matter if it was, the Texas gun show, whatever. If all the manufacturers are there and they all do the same thing, bring all their guns, take the firing pins out, let everybody in and come through and show their new products and their old products, and everybody in the industry is there with booths set up. I mean, it's going to attract a ton of people. whatever the name is, you know. So, but so I'm assuming that's still going to take place. So although I had signed up on their website to be notified when, because they block out housing, you know, lodging. A lot of those motels and hotels around there close by, and for a little bit lower member rate, you know. And I've never been notified, and here we are. And usually you make those reservations a year in advance. I know it's up that way with SHOT Show, pretty much, if you want to have some say in where you stay, right? So anyway, I think those things are coming back, so we're getting back to a more normal world, I believe, and that's good. That's good news. So anyway, I appreciate you all watching, and hopefully I didn't offend anybody. Actually, if you talk a little bit, you're going to offend somebody, aren't you? Right? Yeah. And I never look to be controversial, but then again, I'm not. Yeah, I'm too old to walk on eggshells. I'm not too old. I mean, what does age have to do with it, really? But I just, you know, I don't worry a lot about being canceled, whatever that means for me. You know, I don't really report to anybody, so to speak. I'll be doing the same thing, whatever happens. I'll be over here hiking around, shooting my Mauser, no matter what happens, whether anybody ever sees it or not, you know, whether I ever post videos or not. So my life won't change a great deal. And don't care a lot who likes me or doesn't like me. You know, so anyway, I'm beginning to ramble, right? Beginning to ramble. So again, whoever you are always welcome here, and I hope we have made that clear in our videos for 14 years or however long we've been doing this. Okay, you know, there is bigotry in the world, right? Obviously. There's childish bigotry. There are adults who act like children. Act like middle schoolers or worse. It's an insult to middle schoolers, whether it's in social media or no matter where it is, whether it's in politics or wherever it is. But I try not to judge people. Everybody's welcome to come here and comment and ask questions. And you know, if you're in favor of the Second Amendment and support the Second Amendment, you're interested in firearms, we want you to be safe and help you however we can. All that sort of thing. I do have my own biases regarding firearms, you know, even politics. Don't talk about it much, but, you know, I'm not afraid to tell you who I like I did today. But, and you're fine if you don't, you know. You could, there's people that you probably really like and would vote for that I would never like or vote for. Hey, so what? So what? I'm not defined by those kinds of things. Hopefully you're not either. There's too much in the way of identity, you know, politics, you know, that we're defined by solely by that, you know, or by our gender, or color of our skin, or our hair color, or age, or whatever it is, religion, you know. We're all, I almost told a lie. We're all humans, I started to say. We're all humans. And in order that I don't lie, let me be more precise. You all are all humans. You all are all humans. I'm not so sure about me, right? And you're not either. But let's all be one big happy family and hold hands and just get along. Yeah, really, let's do try to get along, and not focus on the differences, right? Don't focus on the differences. We're all different. We all look different, we all think differently, and it's why when you go to a club meeting, whatever it is, whatever the club is, it could be archery. I shot archery last weekend. If it's a shooting club, if it's a bridge club, you go play cards, is you bowling, you're in a bowling league, whatever it is that you're involved in, I bet you there are people of all ages, probably gender, race, religion, and everything. And a lot of them are probably like on your team or on your squad or people you hang out with and you talk to and have a drink with or whatever, and you just have a good time and get along, don't you? Because you have something in common. You're there because you have something in common. And there may be a lot of things you don't have in common, but there are things you do have in common, and that's what brings it out. You're all at the same bowling alley, you're in the same bowling league, right? Or the team or whatever it is, same interest. And so, you know, we just need to focus more on the commonalities that we have and not walk around trying to be offended by people or about everything, right? And most of you are not. Most people that are into firearms, I think are a little different, really, than the average Joe. For one thing, we have already decided we're not afraid to be, not so much these days, I guess, but to be politically incorrect. You know, firearms are, you know, it's a controversial topic some ways and to a lot of people. So most of you have actually taken the plunge and decided you have an interest in firearms. You probably own some. You shoot them, or you're planning to. You're here watching a gun video, if this is a gun video. And so, you know, you've already taken that step at least. So you're I don't know, you're someone probably who's interested in freedom, the freedom of the Second Amendment, and to own a firearm. And you're not afraid of your own shadow. You're at least on some level, you know, you're aware there are risks involved, just like you decided to race four-wheelers or something, you know, or skydive. You know, you have made that conscious decision that you're going to embark on a hobby where there's a little bit of risk. It's very small. I mean, how many people are killed racing cars or playing football or different things versus how many people are killed at shooting ranges? You know, that's why safety is so important. And I'll leave with that. You young people, the last advice is just be safe with things. Really be safe with firearms. Always be aware whether it's loaded and a muzzle and all that kind of thing. It's just exaggerated, and there's nothing macho about being unsafe or not wearing ears or not wearing glasses. There's nothing macho. It doesn't make you tough or anything at all. You know, just go into slow motion when you're handling that firearm and just make sure you're pointed the right way. And as I say that, of course, you know, one of the things about doing these videos is it's an unnatural thing in a lot of ways, because, you know, usually when you go to the range, whether it's on your own property or you're at a big range or whatever it is, outdoor or indoor, okay, you got a shooting table, you bring your gun up to it, and there it is. And all your focus is down there on targets and this gun and loading it. Okay, I spent too much time. And when you are finished, yeah, you make sure it's unloaded. You may put it back in the case, and then you kind of walk away. Well, I've got two areas of focus, and I'm showing the firearm and all that kind of thing, and, you know, so I've got it here in front of you, and I'm even holding it up for you to see it, you know, and all that kind of thing, and things that I don't do unless you're here. Okay, if you're not here, and I bring out a firearm, you know, I'm never turning around with it, even if nobody's around. There's no reason to, and I just don't do it. It's just everything is focused on the range and the targets. You do realize that, right? So I do. I guess I break some of my own, you know, safety advice in a way. I mean, I don't have it loaded, and I'm up here, you know, bringing it around like that. But yeah, so just be aware of that too. So in some ways, I try to be an example of safety, but in other ways, because of what I'm doing, I'm not. You know, so. You know, be aware of that. If you were doing a video with a firearm, unless you have the camera out there or something, which is kind of a problem, yeah, aware of that. Now, when John is recording, it's a little different until, well, yeah, it's a little different, but not entirely. I mean, I can rely on him to move around with the camera. You know, when we start the video and then end it, though, I'm kind of holding up, maybe showing you the gun or whatever. But I mean, that's just the kind of thing. If there's no camera involved, there's no need to be doing that. My gosh, you pick this thing up like this in an indoor range or something, or at range, and the range officer is going to tackle you, right, or rope around you, right, and should, okay. So it's kind of a no-no and a reason to do that. Right? So as I always say, as I have in every description, I'm a professional. Don't try this at home. Okay? And as what's Paul Harrell say? I'm what you call a professional. Yeah, I'm what you call a professional. And he's right. He's a professional. I'm a professional only in the sense that this is my job now. Okay, so yeah, there's a word. Yeah, what's professional mean? Basically, it means, I think, literally that you make a living doing whatever it is. If it's painting houses or painting barrels, changing tires, you're a professional tire changer. I'm a professional shooter, but I'm not Rob Latham. Rob Latham is a professional shooter, right? But I'm only a professional because this is my livelihood, right? Guns. So I have no illusions about that. Neither do I have illusions about my shooting ability. A lot of people are overly impressed by that. That's because they've not seen Rob Latham shoot. They've not seen competitors shoot at a high level, that kind of thing. There are people that are just amazing shots. I can, John and I, because we shoot a lot, we can hit, usually what we're aiming at, and the target's not too small, that kind of thing, or too far away, because I shoot for fun. This never did start out to be a marksmanship display, ever. I mean, it's more fun if you can shoot decently, right? If you're a shooter, and probably watching the videos or doing what we do, I guess it is a little bit better that we're not just totally inept. Even if we gave what you consider an honest gun review and showed the guns well and whatever it is we do, you think we do well. And then we just had a real hard time hitting the target all the time. It would take a little bit away from it, I guess. It's better that we don't make every gun look inaccurate, I guess. Because again, they're more accurate than we are. They really are. And it doesn't take long, really, to get to be, fairly proficient with firearms. You shoot. I run a lot of people. They're pretty good shots. John hasn't shot nearly as much as I have. Oh my gosh, in his life, and he's really good. He's really good. You just focus on it, and it comes down to trigger break, sights are on the target, and that kind of thing. It's concentration, focus, and practice, and technique, grip, everything. You'll surprise yourself if you're just getting started. You'll surprise. It's like shooting a basketball. If you just got your first handgun, it can be hard if you've never shot a handgun. I'm looking at a 55-gallon drum sitting here behind the camera. You could miss that thing from right here. It's hard till you get maybe some training and you just some experience on that trigger, and which is tough now with ammo the way it is. But you'll be surprised how you'll advance. It's just like shooting a basketball. If you've never shot one, you get some decent form, and just get in close, and you start close and working on it, and you see progress every time you do it. Just like shooting the basketball, shooting the handgun. Don't be discouraged because the person in the lane next to you at the shooting range is shooting these tiny groups, and yours are all over the paper. Just move your target a little closer. Don't worry about it, and don't compare yourself, with them. Just compare yourself with yourself and what your group looked like yesterday, if that's what you're doing, shooting groups, okay, or last week. Just look for improvement. And that is the nice thing about paper. I rarely shoot paper, but to really shoot for a group, but it does show you, what you're doing, where it's going. If those sights are okay, and you got a bunch of them left, if you're right-handed, that's a tendency, to pull them left. Don't be moving sights till you're sure. Let someone else shoot the gun, because if you're a new handgun shooter and you're right-handed, I'll tell you what you're doing right now. A lot of your bad shots, whatever you regard those to be, a lot of your offshoot shots, they're probably going low left, right? That's just the nature of the beast. If you're left-handed, they're probably going low right, right? Not necessarily, but that's the most common issue, just pulling the gun as we pull the trigger. So I won't charge you for that information. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing this beautiful firearm. Okay, authentic. Oh man, all matching German Mauser, BYF, 1943. I don't bring it out that often, so you should feel really lucky, right? You should feel lucky. Oh man, I like that. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go, and I'll see you now. I hope I didn't scare you with that picture of me. That's pretty amazing. Wow. Yeah, it's hard to believe. Time flies. It really does. And again, it's neat having that picture because of the, can you see it? Yeah. That, because that gun was not very old at the time. Now, it was actually younger in the picture I showed last week, because that was just 2 months after I bought it, still in 74. This, I think, was a couple years later. But it was in the mid 75, 76. It was right in there, because that's when I was shooting the silhouettes out there at this was Owl Hollow Gun Club in south of Franklin, Tennessee. I've talked about old Charlie Hafner, who got me into shooting black powder. And his son is still there, and they have a range and a club there. And now his son is old. He's an old man, an old guy. Oh, well, he's probably my age, I don't know. But his dad was quite a character. He was a national competitor, up at Friendship, Indiana, and won, several matches up there, I believe, and was really, really good. He was a character, man, long white beard, and worked at a gun shop out in Franklin, Battleground Armory, and I traded guns with him, and a friend of mine did too. We'd go out there and sit, they'd have coffee, and you'd hang out that shop back in the 70s, and just shoot the bull, with him, and interesting fellow, interesting family, and that ranges on their place, and he's passed on now. That happy shooting range in the sky, and now his son, runs that pretty much. But they were good old days. That range right there is where I shot. I was at that right there. I was watching. I went out to shoot my 29 one day. It was actually probably before this picture was taken, because that would have been like 74. And I was out there to shoot it, and there were some guys shooting muzzle loaders. They were shooting Hawken rifles, Thompson Center Hawken rifles. And I may have told this story, and I just loved those things, the looks of them and everything. And I was asking them about them and all that. And old Charlie Hafner, helped me, taught me some things about muzzle loading, and talked me into getting, one, and joining the fun. And I did. And that's where I got my first Hawken Thompson Center, because I just loved the looks of those things. And it was a 50 caliber, and I'd go out there and shoot it. And so anyway, yeah, I knew you were just desperately interested in all that. So you gotta find the off switch on me, don't you? So anyway, I'm glad y'all came out today, and I'll see you next week. I'm pretty sure I will. Yeah. So y'all behave yourselves, and don't take any wooden nickels, whatever that means. Life is good.